Welcome everyone to VertForce's Coffee and Connect with Travelers Insurance. Since 2021, Travelers has hired more than 100 of VertForce's active duty military spouses in remote customer service and customer care positions. And if you're here for those today, we will explore them more on this call. But today, we get a really cool opportunity to go beyond customer service. For the very first time, Travelers' open remote roles in technology are going to be offered to the VertForce community in today's Coffee and Connect. So why tech? The tech field was made for remote work. It doesn't always require a quiet office, which is work from home gold if you don't want to be on the phone all the time. Also at Travelers, there is incredible career progression and salary increases to be had and made in this field. But regardless of which department at Travelers Insurance you choose to pursue, the most important thing is that Travelers has built a reputation of being the GOAT remote employer for milspouses. If you want to learn more about why we call Travelers the GOAT, go watch episode 142 of our podcast. Even going so far as to develop a private Teams channel for military spouses. So let's dive in. Number one thing I need you to do is like and subscribe to this channel or this podcast if you are excited about this content. And now keep listening. Virtual employment is here to stay. I'm military spouse, VertForce founder, and your remote work expert, Kimber Hill. Subscribe now to learn how you too can thrive in the virtual workforce.
Thank you all for joining us today. As Kimber said, I'm a member of the talent acquisition team. I actually head up a recruiting team that hires predominantly for our customer service positions, PI, personal insurance operations, business insurance operations. I am in my 7th year with Travelers, have been in talent acquisition the entire time here, and admittedly have about 30 years of recruiting experience over the course of my career. When you think Travelers, I know some of you might be familiar with us as a company. Some of you might be hearing about us for the first time. So we're property and casualty insurance. I always keep it very simple and I say, we're not health insurance, we're not life insurance. But if you think your auto coverage, your homeowner's coverage, that's what personal lines insurance does at Travelers. So when you think about a customer service representative, when they take an inbound phone call from somebody who has a question about their coverage, they're fielding those questions from the existing policy holders. So a lot of times people might think service center, phone calls back to back, oh, it's, just difficult, but you are servicing our existing policyholders when you are talking to them, whether it's through fielding their questions or Kimber has made reference to our customer care associate positions. Those are also within our claims function. Those are common opportunities that we have. Kimber also mentioned a couple things, and I just want to reinforce our positions kind of fall in that heavy on the phone in that quiet office space. So she's made reference to different types of positions. Ours are also in the continental United States. Unfortunately, if you do get PCS'd overseas, unfortunately, our jobs are not compatible with overseas assignments. But if you enjoy talking to people, being that first call resolution, we have the job for you. It is a very set schedule. You are on the phone back to back. So flexibility might feel limited if you're looking for something less than 40 hours a week. But if you're looking for a full-time professional position, we have those right now. And I believe Jenna is probably going to help me drop a link into the chat. One of our current positions is actually what we call a sales counselor trainee. And that is for people who are interested in Travelers insurance coverage. They call in and say, hey, I saw this ad. I, got this flyer. I want to learn more. Can you give me some quotes for my auto, for my homeowners, and so forth? So our sales counselors trainees are, again, full-time positions on the phone, helping prospects who are interested in being insured by Travelers. That is a current opportunity that we have. What does the ideal candidate need for any of the roles that I talked about? Great communication skills, right? That insatiable desire to help people. And again, just wanting to be an ambassador for Travelers, talking to our existing or our prospective customers. Kimber, did I catch all the highlights?
You got a lot. You
All
got
right.
a lot. And what I want to talk about for this role, and you guys please stay tuned because we're going to get into benefits, culture, and why you're going to want this role with Travelers soon when we talk to Jennifer White. This is the supported structure salary benefits role where you are going to come in, you're going to have a regular schedule, regardless of what that schedule may be. It will be a set 8 hours, just like you are participating in an on-site office. It is the most supportive and regularly functional office job that you can get from a work from home environment. Quick question, Julie Galloway, Hawaii. Hawaii is included, correct?
Hawaii is included. Yes, we consider that, United States.
CONUS,
So,
yeah.
Yep. So Hawaii and Alaska are both fine. Yep. Thank you.
Yep. We know a lot of our candidates who have been hired from, that was a funny combination of words, hired from Hawaii in this particular role. And I want to say too that, Julie, you may want to speak on this. When you're in this role, empathy is a must, and being able to meet the caller where they are, because they could be having a really bad day. Why else would you call your insurance company, right?
Yeah. And especially for those customer care associate positions. So those are the ones taking like that first notice of loss, right? When you just had an auto accident, you need to report, the claim and so forth. And so some of them can be, they're not all like that, but definitely have to be compassionate. That's for sure.
Yes. So some of you who are volunteers, I know we volunteer because we care, and we volunteer because we want to impact other people's lives. This is that calling job for you. You get the opportunity to benefit other people and to impact their lives in such a positive way in Julie Galloway's department. So Felicia or Jenna is going to drop the link to apply for Julie's open positions now. I believe Julie only has one open right now, but stay tuned because we get them all the time. They hire in waves. So more will be coming, but this is the one that's open now. And it's important to note that the shifts change. So the shift that's open right now may be different from a shift that is open in the future. So if the shift is not right for you right now, wait and keep your eye on it and look for the VertForce emails, because there will be a shift that works for you in the future. All right, let's go ahead and talk about how Travelers is the GOAT as far as remote work goes, because I think it's a disservice to just talk about this position and not discuss why you would want to be in this type of environment. So Jennifer, can we go ahead and get you on screen now? I'd love to hear a little bit about your background, what you do at Travelers, and also some of those GOAT benefits that military spouses can take advantage of.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer White, and I lead the experience recruiting teams here at Travelers. This month, I celebrate 19 years with the organization, which is absolutely surreal. I'm a military wife, daughter, and a granddaughter. I'm proud to share that Travelers offers competitive salaries for positions across the company. And most recently, you may have noticed that we now include our full salary ranges on our job postings, because we wanted to be really transparent with people about our pay, our philosophy, and the compensation structures that we have to offer here. So that's kind of a newer feature for us. In terms of benefits, which all start day one of hire, we have your traditional benefits like your medical, your dental, your life insurance, vision. We have some of the best vision insurance out there. But a few others I just wanted to quickly share with you guys. When it comes to 401k, we have a 401k match of up to 5% of your pay. Travelers actually still offers a pension plan, which seems very uncommon these days. So we're really proud of that. We also offer tuition assistance in the event that you want to go back to school, or you want to further your education, or you want to obtain, additional degrees or maybe other designations. We also offer 20 days of paid time off when you first start, and those PTO days will increase with each 5-year milestone of service here at Travelers. We have a newer benefit, which is the student loan debt program, where Travelers will make contributions to your 401k program while you're paying off your student loans. So that's gotten some really great press from some of our employees that are, trying to do everything. We also offer some pre-tax childcare discounts of about 10% for some of the kinder care and learning experience facilities. And I guess last but not least, for mill spouses, just the peace of mind that, should you PCS, you can take your job with you. and Travelers will ship your work equipment to your new location. I could go on because the list of benefits is so incredible. In fact, I think one of our Coffee and Connects was exclusively on all the perks and benefits at Travelers, but I think those are some really great highlights for now. So,
Those are really great highlights. I always take great inspiration as a business owner. I take great inspiration from Travelers in what they do for their team members and their employees. Our last Coffee and Connect, or maybe the one before last, episode 142, which we're going to continue to drop in the chat for you right now, talks explicitly about that. And we've been on numerous, if you guys follow our podcast, you know, every other episode is a hashtag hired success story. So if you go to our YouTube, every other episode is a success story. And so many of those are about Travelers Insurance, employing milspouses and veterans. And what if you listen to those, the nuggets that you will capture from that are littered with amazing things about their work culture. You know, giveaways. We were on a call recently and one of the team members was like, oh, I got to get to my door because I think Travelers shipped my new iWatch to me. I won this iWatch for hitting my metrics, which is awesome. And not to mention their military spouse forum. And we're going to talk to Casey about that in just a minute. But their military spouse forum is created. So as you onboard, you're automatically put into a digital forum with everybody else who shares a similar demographic as you. So you can network with them and build relationships with your team members. Well, as a veteran and a transitioning service member, you know that you're coming out of a background where you've been working with the TSP and the military retirement plans that they may have built in for you. But as a spouse, you may not have ever thought about your retirement, especially if you've been struggling with career continuity or career progression. You may have zero retirement savings. So that's something that I want to call out about Travelers Insurance. And that's a series we're going to be doing on our podcast coming up soon, is how to plan for retirement and think about what is life after military, both as a transitioning service member, but especially as a military spouse who may not have been contributing to that yet. So that's why we love Travelers Insurance. One of the perks that they offer you is a 401k and a pension. And you want something when you're done working, right? You want something for yourself. Okay, let's move on and talk to Casey. Casey, I want to get you on screen here. I want you to chat with us about your Teams forum. And one of the things that we could probably start the conversation with on the Teams forum is Jennifer White brought up that Travelers is PCS friendly. Now, I've heard this story from a ton of Travelers employees about how Travelers ships their equipment and helps them move their whole office to their next duty station. And some of that is kind of coordinated in Microsoft Teams. Can you talk to us about that digital community you created?
Yeah, absolutely. So hi, everyone. So glad to be here with you today. As Kimber mentioned, my name is Casey Herco. I am currently a learning designer with Travelers Insurance. I'm actually part of the business insurance operations group. So I am a daughter, granddaughter, and great-granddaughter of military servicemen. So very near and dear to my heart as far as that goes. What Kimber is referring to is a really awesome program that a team of peers and I put together to add an additional layer of support for those military spouses who are now members of the Travelers family. One of the things that we've recognized is that, you know, there's a lot of questions and how do I do this? How do I figure this out? You know, you don't know people, you want to have some support for the places that you're moving to. And so it was kind of a twofold. We wanted to make it about, having some built-in support resources, tips and tricks, all the fun that comes with PCSing. And I say fun with air marks here because we know sometimes it's not a lot of fun. But we wanted people to know, like, hey, there's others like you out here, who are part of the Travelers team and can lend an ear or say, hey, you know what, we just left there. Here's a really great restaurant, or here's a really awesome place to take your kids on the weekend, or just, again, kind of create that kind of social networking option available from a business and from like a work perspective that may have been missing from previous places you may have worked for. So we wanted to make that a little bit more friendly and a bit more welcoming. Again, additional layer of support. we came up with this kind of social media platform, again, just to help connect other military spouses who are a part of Travelers, and also just make sure that, again, there was that kind of friendly face, if you will, and a shared space where everybody could come together. It was created out of a innovation idea that went, to our senior leadership for review, and they really loved it. And they're like, "Yep, let's get this in motion. Let's see what we can do to make this come to life." So, some of our events that we have going on too, we had a speaker event back in September with our senior leadership talking about why they're so supportive of military spouses, being able to continue their professional development, talking about future opportunities that would be available. Again, thinking longer term, bigger picture, not just a job you have for today, but, building on that career that you want to build and develop, like Kimber had mentioned. We're looking at the long game here. We want to make sure that that is available to you past, a 2-year mark kind of thing. Some of the other options that we've built out are just, engagement opportunities. There's a lot of photo sharing, there's a lot of storytelling, there's a lot of hey, how would you handle, type situations? And the group has really come together to support each other. And it's also brought up some really great questions that we want to make sure we can get answers for as well. So it's a way to raise awareness, get those questions answered. Again, just kind of serve as a resource and support network already built in from day one.
Just listening to Casey talk about the work culture that she's helped build in this digital environment space, it shows me why they're having so much great retention. I mean, we care as milspouses, we care about being a part of a team. We care about being a part of an organization that cares about us. And that's what we're all looking for, is that long game employer that we can be with for a while. So it makes sense why they're hiring so many and why so many of our VertForce talent community members are going there. All right, so we have a new show coming up soon called the Duty Station Download. This is a show that's going to be produced by the full VertForce team where we talk about duty stations. So thank you, Casey, for sharing with us about the PCS forum that you have. I think that we can learn a lot from what's going on with your active duty spouses, and that's definitely a great place where we can share about Travelers' support for team members who are PCSing. So Julie, you have quite the audience today. Julie Toth, let me get you on screen now. Can you tell us, tell us why tech does not necessarily always require a quiet office environment? Let's start there.
Sure, happy to. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be joining you today. My name's Julie Toth. I am the Director of Client Delivery for Technology at Travelers. I lead a team of 12 recruiters supporting all open technology roles. So the need for a quiet office space is really going to vary based on the role that you're interested in. Certain roles like Scrum Masters or Agile coaches, those are going to require more video meetings. And that's due to the collaborative nature of that work and the schedule of set ceremonies within the Agile framework. The flip side of that, though, is that engineering roles can be more heads down, requiring less video meetings with the team that you're a part of and leadership. And right now, the highest demands we're seeing within tech are those engineering roles. And then second to that would be those Agile roles, so Scrum Masters, Agile coaches, and the like.
Tell me a little bit about what a day in the life as a technical team member at Travelers is like.
Okay. So technical positions within Travelers can sit throughout every line of business. And the team makeup is going to vary greatly based on the business line that your position is aligned to. So within the Agile framework, which has been key throughout our technology transformation, those teams really embrace this mindset of ongoing learning and iteration. So those teams work in 2-week sprints with ceremonies throughout those sprints, keeping them closely connected to the team as well as leadership. Those roles within the agile space could be more structured from a meetings point of view than the engineering roles, which would be typical for an engineering role would be some sort of morning meeting followed by that heads down, behind your computer coding that's required for the specific position.
Thank you so much, Julie. So let me paint the picture of career progression. If you guys have been to Coffee Connects with me before, this is one of the points that I really love to hit on, because I don't want you to just think about how do I get hired right now? Like, what job can I do right now? I want you to think about your next 3 years, your next 5 years, your next 10 years. Like, what does your progression track look like? So Julie, talk to me about what is the entry-level bare minimum requirements to get hired in these two roles, software engineering and Scrum, and then where you can go over the course of your career with career progression.
Absolutely. So most of the positions within tech would require some previous technical education and or experience. So for software engineering, the entry level for that space would be an associate software engineer, and we're looking typically for 1 to 3 years of experience. And then from there, you can move from an associate level engineer to a software engineer 1 to a software engineer 2, and then you can choose your path from there, whether you're wanting to go the agile route, the architecture route. But it really, for engineering, would all start at that associate software engineer level. And then for the agile space, typically the entry point for those positions would be a Scrum Master role, in which you are the Scrum Master for one, not multiple teams. And the career progression would be Scrum Master, Senior Scrum Master, Agile Coach, Product Owner, and then we're talking about higher level leadership roles. But when we're talking about career progression, one of the things that I think is really important to highlight about tech at Travelers is the ongoing learning that's encouraged for all tech team members. So tech employees are allocated 8 hours per month of learning. And it's all through a contemporary enterprise learning platform. And it recommends training to you based on the skill development that you're looking for.
Thank you for clarifying that, Julie Toth. We appreciate you describing those career progression opportunities. So that's it for our speakers. I want to go ahead and open the floor. So if you've got questions for Travelers Insurance, now is the time to raise your hand. The Coffee and Connect forum is very much interactive. It's here for you to get to know the Travelers team. They've given you the high-level details of everything we had to deliver today.
Okay. Hi, thanks. So I know she primarily mentioned, like an associate's in some type of tech field. I know military spouses are highly educated, maybe don't have that tech degree, but maybe have degrees in other fields. How would you recommend us going about kind of breaking into tech without pursuing the associate's route, maybe a certification route or something of that nature?
That's a great question, Haley. So I definitely think for the engineering route that some hands-on training is a requirement for those roles. For those positions, we're looking for typically 1 to 3 years of experience. However, there are a number of training opportunities available, whether that's online boot camp trainings. There's ways to get that experience on your own for those specific roles. If looking at the other route, and that's Scrum Master, then the training that Kimber had talked about earlier would definitely be the pathway into those type of opportunities.
Awesome, thank you.
So I am kind of at a loss. So I'm transitioning. I'm currently in a programmer position, doing like back-end programming on a database. And I really want to transition into software engineer, but I don't have a degree. I only have, 1 year of hands-on experience and then a little bit of front-end developer experience. How firm are you guys on like the requirements? Like my biggest fear is I don't want to apply and like waste anyone's time, if that makes sense. What would be your recommendations there for getting into engineering?
Based on the experience that you just shared, I would certainly encourage you to apply for roles. The back-end coding experience, programming experience you have is certainly applicable and would be considered towards that 1 to 3 years of experience that we typically look for. So I would definitely encourage you to look for those associate level positions and apply to those that are of interest to you.
Wonderful. Thank you. And then I'm so sorry, one more question. So would I be looking at specifically like the positions that were just posted by Michelle, or would that be, do I just go onto the Travelers website and look for associate positions specifically?
Great question. I had to narrow down the open jobs I was sharing. So you could certainly look at the links that were shared in the chat, or go to the Travelers career page, and you can, in the keyword section, type associate software, and it'll pull up every open position that matches that language.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
And I'm seeing a lot of questions in the chat about, are these opportunities remote? Everything we're discussing today are remote opportunities. And the positions that were shared in the chat are Systems Monitoring Engineer, Data Engineer 1, Cloud Data Engineer 2, Software Engineer, Senior Scrum Master, Software Engineer Java, JavaScript, Amazon Web Services, Service Desk Consultant. Got a question on that one for you, Julie. Would that be something that like the Google IT certification would qualify you for? Or are you looking for engineering experience for the service desk consultants?
For the service desk, yes, absolutely, we would consider
All right.
that.
I've seen some people in the chat say, hey, does the Google IT certification qualify me for that? So those of you who asked that question, go there. But I'm going to imagine you're probably spending time on the phone in that role. Is that correct, Julie?
Correct.
Yeah.
That would be that position specifically would be very phone heavy. So it would require quiet office space.
Yeah. But let me say this, if you want to transition to tech, Service Desk is a great place to start. And I say this because I did it personally. Before I founded VertForce, I worked in healthcare IT, and my first 3 years were spent on a service desk. From there, I went and worked on CompTIA level IT certifications, and then graduated to getting my PMP until I ran the service desk. So these are the service desk. There is no greater work experience to baptize you in IT. Yeah, it is on the phone a lot, but it's a really cool experience, and there's nothing quite like it.
Hi there, guys. Julie, I have a question for you. I am a certified Scrum Master and actually did just complete a 6-month software development boot camp. I just recently applied for a Scrum Master position and was declined, told it wasn't, I wasn't chosen for the position. Is there special wording that you want to see on there? It is listed as, as a highlight on mine, and that I am certified Scrum Master. So I'm just curious as to how that works.
So as far as the listing of skills, I would definitely list those towards the top of your resume, and make sure that you put those that completed coursework in that section. Right now we do have a number of Scrum openings, but the candidate flow for those roles does tend to be greater than in other areas. We get more Scrum Masters applying than we do in a software engineering type of role. Okay. I would certainly encourage you to look at other opportunities and continue to apply for those that would be of interest to you.
Okay, excellent. And with that boot camp, I don't have any real world experience other than that boot camp, and it was only 6 months. How does that frame into your 1 year requirement? Because, I don't obviously have 1 full year of experience for a software developer.
Right, but you do have, given your Scrum experience, total experience of a year in technology, correct?
Yes.
Then that criteria would be met.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That's great news. Yeah, I'm so excited for you, Leslie.
Hi. So I am currently a student getting my bachelor's degree in computer science and information technology. So I definitely want to go into tech. And I do actually have internship experience at a tech company where I am right now. But I was just wondering if you could speak on like your internship positions, as well as if you guys hire like new grads straight out of school. I know you mentioned that typically for the associate roles, you are looking for 1 to 3 years of experience, but especially coming from a degree where I'm learning like content specific skills, if you guys do consider new grads.
Absolutely. So the team that I lead, we focus on the experience positions within Travelers. However, we do have internships available as well as what is called the Technology Development Leadership Program. Those are specifically for people in the position that you just described. So you could go to the career page and you can search internship or leadership development, and all of those positions will come up. You'll be able to read what the minimum qualifications for both paths would be, but certainly based on what you're sharing with me, it sounds like that criteria would be met. So would definitely encourage you to take a look at those opportunities.
Thank you.
Hey, Julie,
Thank
can I just add to what you just described around TLDP?
Please.
If you go to the because I was just thinking about all the conversations and the questions around people wanting to get into tech or maybe have just a little bit of experience. That TLDP, Technology Leadership Development Program, is kind of that conduit to not quite experience, but has a little and want to get into some of the more experienced roles. They hire a number of people every single year. It's usually a 1 or 2 year rotational program where you get to experience different technologies in different business lines, and it helps. It's kind of a catalyst to getting into the Scrum Masters and the Agile coaches and some of the more heavy hitting tech opportunities. But that's a great entry point for many of you that have kind of shared today. So if you go to the Travelers career page, there's a keyword search. I would type in leadership development and all the programs will come up and you'll be able to see what's available. There's finance, HR, operations, technology. I'm missing a whole host of others, but I just wanted to plug that for you guys.
Our next, so super cool entryway pathway that I didn't know about into tech. So I'm really glad that question was asked by our guest today.
So speaking of pathways and internships, I am graduating with my MBA in marketing and healthcare administration in December. And I'm actually wanting to transition over to the insurance industry. I was wondering if there was any pathways or internships for underwriters that would be remote. I know you guys have a development program that's over in Illinois, but I wonder if there was something similar available for military spouses, because I'm currently in Hawaii and a lot of positions are, U.S. except Alaska and Hawaii. So.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, Jen, probably, I hate to tell you no, I said right, but I'll be honest, like our underwriting development program typically then is a pathway to being, let's say, a commercial lines underwriter. And those reside in all of our offices across the country, because if you are in, let's say, a middle market underwriter, you're actually going out and meeting with prospective clients, right, to write their insurance business. Or you could potentially be working in like one of our underwriting centers. I'll be honest, we haven't expanded our underwriting centers to virtual workforce yet.
No, I was thinking about that today, Julie. Yeah, I was thinking about that. We were brainstorming, like, we've got a number of those entry-level underwriting needs, but to Julie's point, they're very client-facing. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I hate to tell you no, but I don't want to overstate the possibility either. So
that's totally okay. I just wanted to jump on and see, because I know there's a lot of them that would be on your website, but I just wanted to see if there was maybe an internal one or something. But thank you so much for the information.
Would it be relevant here to discuss one of our #hired success stories, Laura Lee Lambert, who was recently promoted to the underwriter position? Is that relevant here, Julie?
That's true, Kimber.
Okay. Do you want to tell her story?
did you point me out? So yes, so Laura Lee, and I'll summarize this, but she started with us as one of our customer service representatives within personal insurance, if I have it right. And then after someone is with us for a year, then they can post and apply for other jobs within Travelers. And so she has already been with us that long, and then internally posted for a new opportunity, and now is in the underwriter role. Again, that's because she's internal. So we're just not putting we're not hiring externally into those remote underwriting roles. But you're right, Kimber, like that's an example of how when she started, she didn't come directly into that role, but then she has morphed, her career into that path now that she's here. So Thank you.
So I said, it's been done, and we have Laura Lee's story recorded. I said, if you will email hire@vertforce.us, we can actually probably put you in touch with Laura Lee, and she can share with you how she did it if you're interested.
Yes,
so
I would love that.
Okay, hire@vertforce.us. Just shoot Felicia an email really quick, and she'll get you in touch.
Yeah, and somebody had the question of how did she start, and originally I thought it was the customer service representative, but it's actually the sales counselor trainee position that Jenna had popped into Felicia had popped into the chat earlier. So yep.
Yeah, it's a really quick turnaround. I said, so you're in for about your first 3 months as training, and then you're working for 9 months. And correct me if I'm wrong, Julie, but we've been working with you guys since 2019, so I've heard a lot of the stories of how it works. And by your 12th month, you can apply for those internal roles that are not actually out there for everybody else. All right. Thank you for asking that question. It's such an interesting topic.
Hi. So I guess I don't know if this has really been addressed yet or not because my tablet had died, but is there any remote I homeschool and I've got kid activities in the evening. Is there flexible hours, part-time positions at all, or what does that look like?
Yeah, and Kimber, I can take that. For us within customer service, Gabby, most of our positions are full-time and they're set schedules because we have phone coverage. So Kimber has is it a podcast, Kimber, where you talk about that spectrum of, flexible jobs? And unfortunately, Travelers is on the end of the spectrum where the work schedule is pretty set. We don't have any part-time positions now, Gabby. Once in a while, we might hire customer service assistants. If we do in the future, and that could potentially be like 25 to 30 hours a week, we would share that with Kimber and team if that comes up. But unfortunately, most of our hiring needs are full-time, 40 hours a week with a pretty standard schedule. So I apologize. We might not offer the flexibility that you need with your family at the moment.
Okay,
Gabby, are you looking for 15 hours a week, 20 hours a week? Where are you on that spectrum?
Yeah, like about 15 to 25.
Okay. I think you would be a good fit for a different employment partner. So go ahead and email hire@vertforce.us, and we will get you into some free training in the financial industry. We'll get you over to that and let you check it out and see if that's something that would be a good fit for you.
Okay. And you said it was hire@vertforce.net?
.us as in the United States. Yeah.
You got it. Thank you.
And Felicia will get you in touch with the right training. I'm sorry, she'll get you the link to the right training that will give you that flexible environment.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem. Crystal Berry.
Hi. Okay, so it's kind of an odd question, and I'm sure you hear it all the time. So my background, I have over 7 or 8 years of operations management experience. So a lot of times when I apply for these positions, let's say the customer service from the entry level, I get the overqualified response. Or, but even though my background is in different areas, I operations management for a large bank, and then I also have it for logistics. Even though it's different industries, it's still I can't get into the management field because I don't have the insurance aspect, but then I can't get into the customer service field because a lot of times I hear the overqualified portion because of my background. So how do I overcome the gray area? Because I get the advice of take this off your resume, but if I took it off my resume, I would have nothing. So my entire background is operations management over almost 7 to 10 years. So kind of in that gray area. I don't really know how to overcome that.
And I guess my advice to that, Crystal, and I don't know if you're referring to having applied specifically to travelers opportunities before or just applying in general. But I think at the end of the day, what you're looking for has to match what we have to offer, right? So if you're, for example, when you say like being overqualified, if you're at the stage in your life where you are kind of recalibrating, right? And maybe stepping back from a leadership role, and then you're looking, that our job and our compensation matches what you're looking for, then I would say still apply. At the end of the day, I'll be honest, we're looking for people who want to do that job, not as just a stopgap, but, to have travelers as a career. So, and not that you have to stay in that one position as a career, but, that would be the opportunity that you would hold in the short term, right? So I guess if you've held higher level leadership type positions before, this might be an opportunity to put in they're almost old fashioned, but like a cover letter that states your interest in kind of explaining the transition to the prospective employer so that can kind of open up that conversation and just reinforce why you're applying for this job, even though it might not look like it aligns with the career path on your resume. So that would be my advice.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Well,
Okay,
Crystal, I want to point you toward Resume Bootcamp. So for everybody here, if you don't know, we offer a ton of resources at VertForce. Number one is our podcast and our YouTube channel where conversations like this go up for you to learn. But number two is Rocket Remote. Within Rocket Remote, we have 2 free courses. Rocket Remote is our online school. Our 2 free courses are number 1, Resume Bootcamp, number 2, Launching LinkedIn. Resume Bootcamp, I know some of you on this screen have gone through Resume Bootcamp because I've seen you going through it and I've seen your before and after resumes. Crystal, I think that you could benefit from that because we cover that topic of what it looks like to be overqualified on paper and how to tailor that one pager to the traveler's position that you want. So if you want to go back after that traveler's position, let's overhaul that resume and Resume Bootcamp and get you crafted there and then mirror that on LinkedIn. We want to mirror it on LinkedIn so you look exactly the same on both LinkedIn and your resume. So you've got this big, beautiful digital package of I am your gal, hire me.
I try to save mine for last because I do have a couple. I apologize. So this is more of the tech side. What types of operating systems do you guys normally work with?
So are you interested primarily in software engineering roles? Is that your background and where you're looking to go?
No. So I'm open to any kind of thing in tech. My experience mostly comes with Linux operating systems, command line function, some Python, networking, a lot of network subnetting, all that stuff. So I guess I'm just trying to figure out. I saw the service desk position, and I don't know if that's more in line of the kind of pipeline that would go in line with what I'm doing. So I guess I'm trying to figure out a day in the life more so.
Okay. So based on what you just shared with me, I think that searching technology engineer roles would be more in line with what you're looking for. Those tend to be the more of the back-end infrastructure sort of focused positions. Okay. So technology engineers, and within those roles, you'll see a wide variety of technology being utilized. Linux being, probably the most prominent within that space. But certainly those would all fall under the technology engineer title.
Okay, awesome. And then I did have one other question. As far as any of those positions, is there, how would I put this? Is there more of a rigid pipeline in terms of career advancement for those positions, or is it kind of a tree branch that kind of just goes into multiple different directions depending on what you want to do? Okay,
Yeah,
that's what,
definitely
right.
the tree branch. But as was touched on earlier, once you are in any role for 12 months, you can then look at other opportunities throughout the organization. So regardless of line of business, and those can be lateral moves or they can be promotional opportunities based on what you're looking for your area of focus to be in that next role.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And that seems to be the common trend of what we're seeing with a lot of you who are interested in getting in with Travelers, finding the position that will get you employed now with your mind on your long-term vision of where you really want to be. We talked about it earlier about the underwriter position, and we just talked about it here with this gentleman on wanting to be able to tree branch out from what he could start with at Travelers Insurance. So the answer to that is after 12 months of work experience there, then you can start pursuing other career paths.
Hi, Kimber. I honestly, I don't have a question. I just wanted to express my gratitude to you and your team at VertForce for putting on this beneficial segment today and bringing all the panelists from Travelers Insurance to share with us all the resources that they have available and to really explain and highlight all the programs that they have for military connected families, spouses, and dependents. It's really invaluable, and I just wanted to express my gratitude for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, big kudos to the VertForce team. We work really hard on preparing all of the content that goes out to you guys for this, and we do this for Travelers every quarter. This one is a little delayed due to, weather circumstances, but we should be doing this at least one more time this year. And thank you for coming. I appreciate your time because you took time out of your day to show up and be here with us. That means a lot.
This question is more towards the customer service representative roles or the sales counselor roles. As I know this might be repetitive, I keep hearing after a year that you are eligible to lateral or apply for a different position. I actually just went through an interview and they had told me that I would have to stay within those hours until June of 2024. And unfortunately for me, that was a deal breaker. So does it depend on when you are hired as far as when that 12-month period starts? Or I guess how necessarily would that work? Just for me, it would have been a year and a half of being in hours that are not feasible with my family.
Yeah, and I can speak to that. Blythe and Amy Grenier can even help me if I misquote this. In what they're referring to is in the customer service roles, because it sounds like that's what you had applied for and went through the interview for. They do a shift bid. And so it's kind of two separate things, Blythe. So being in the role for 1 year is the minimum requirement before you can apply for other jobs within Travelers. But if you stayed within that job that you were doing, then they're just saying that you wouldn't have the opportunity to change your hours. Does that make sense? So it's kind of two different tracks. So let's say you came to Travelers and you started as a customer service representative. And if they said, since we're already past the shift bid or when you're locked into those hours for a year and a half, it's just those hours if you stay in that job. But if after the 12 months working at Travelers, you decide to post out to another job, like let's say you start in customer service and you post for the sales counselor job. And if you interview and are selected, it's not going to prevent you from being able to move into a different job. Does that make sense? Amy, did I explain that okay?
Yeah,
so,
perfect.
Okay, yeah. So it's kind of two different things. So because of the shift bid, if you stay in that role, then you're locked into those hours for that amount of time, I think is what they were trying to illustrate. But it's separate if you decide to apply for a different job within Travelers. And then if you're selected and you move out of your customer service role, Blythe, to something else. Hope that helps.
Okay, great. So just as long as it's a different role, it cannot be another customer service representative position based somewhere else, correct?
Well, it couldn't be like the same job you're doing. If you would apply for, let's say you started, and I'll give you a for instance. So let's say you started as a personal insurance customer service representative, and just to get some different experience, you apply for, let's say, a claim what we call a customer care associate. You're still on the phone taking calls, but it's a different type of call, learning a different side of our business. Again, that would be moving out of one job into another. So that's, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Okay, you bet. Thanks for asking.
Hopefully that makes a difference for you, Blythe. And like I said earlier, if it doesn't, the shift that you've applied for now will be different from shifts that come out in the future. So I hope that gives you some encouragement too.
Okay. I was wondering, so I have more of a management experience as far as in customer service and sales as well. What exactly, and also accounting as well. I was in an accounting department where I just did collections and, making sure that accounts got taken care of. What type of positions do you guys have that would be more on the accounting side? What titles would those be under on your website?
Yeah, and I think, Jen, with your help. Well, I was just going to say, one of the challenges there too, what is your first name again? Because we know it's not Kevin.
It's Jenny. Sorry about that.
Jenny, hey, that's okay. I like the name Kevin. That's my husband's name too. So, so one of the challenges there is that not every job at Travelers is offered remote. So when you get into like finance and so forth, and again, I'm just being real, a lot of those sit within our corporate office, right? Like either in Hartford, Connecticut or St. Paul, Minnesota. So I'm just trying to think out loud here. Jen White, any other thoughts?
Yeah, I was just
I would need to go more towards customer service rather than accounting.
Not necessarily, because before this call, we were kind of brainstorming on some other opportunities that might encompass remote work. But there is a field, premium audit. It's a role that would look at someone with accounting/finance background, and they've gotten with the times over the last year and change with looking at remote employees because they've been able to figure out how to do audit work remotely. So that might be something to take a peek at. I know that they will post in various locations because some of the work is with a client. So we'll be going out to audit certain organizations that we're partnered with, but some of the work can be done virtually. The title I would look for in the careers page is premium audit. There's specialists, there's customer service reps in that group. They do hire management positions as well. So you could certainly tap into your operations and your finance and accounting background in a space like that. That's just one option to think about. But like I said, they've gotten way more open with remote type work. So, and they hire in chunks, like 20 to 25 people at a time. So
okay, that would be great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Can you speak to how Travelers supports employees with various disabilities?
Want me to take that one?
Yes.
Thanks, Dan. Hey, everyone. Jim McMahon. In addition to being the military and veteran outreach, I'm also the disability outreach in the company. So a number of things. We have an internal disability network that numbers about 3,000 employees. We also have an internal military and veterans network that numbers a little over 3,000 employees. So you do not have to be a military veteran to be a part of the military and veterans network. You do not have to be disabled to be a part of the disability network. We just actually had a lunchtime session this afternoon on ableism. It was a couple. The gentleman is disabled, his wife is able-bodied, and they were talking about the dynamics of that. It was just visibility for our own internal audience. We are a member of the Neurodiversity at Work Roundtable, which used to be branded the Autism at Work Roundtable. This past summer, I know we talked about internships. We talked about the Technology Development Program. We hosted 11 neurodiverse interns, and of the 11 neurodiverse interns, 8 of them just got offers to either come back next summer or full-time offers to join us. So we really think we're an inclusive environment. So I know I'm leaving things out, but I interact with various state occupational rehab individuals. Our recruiters post our jobs on a job board called Inclusively, inclusively is totally dedicated to the disabled community. So I think we do a lot for the disabled community and the able-bodied community as well. So thanks for the question. Love having that side of the perspective also.
Great question. Thank you so much for answering that, Jim. All right, next question is, for experience qualifications, do Coursera certifications apply?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We want them to see all of that experience listed on the resume. It would apply.
Thank you. All right.
Kimber, can I just share one additional thought on that? As we're talking about resumes and keywords, we look at the resumes, of course, but a lot of our searches sometimes take place based upon like certain keywords that we absolutely have to have. So if Scrum, Agile, customer service, finance, I mean, the list goes on. Like, don't be bashful in your resume writing, and certainly include those keywords, because sometimes they're absolutely critical and can be the thing that people are really searching on. So don't be shy about sharing some of those great experiences and skills, because those are really important.
Thank you for sharing that, Jen.
Yeah, can I add? And Jen, you're absolutely right. Don't be bashful on what you tell us. But for a number of folks here today, military spouses, sometimes you're reticent to say you're a military spouse. Sometimes you're worried about gaps in the resume. Sometimes you might have been a stay-at-home mom for the last 10 or 12 years. Don't worry about it. Honestly, we are looking for reasons to say yes, not reasons to say no. And I can't emphasize that. Julie and Jen and Amy and Casey, we will all tell you that we're here today because we want to hire you. I mean, that's, we're not looking for why to throw you out of the mix. We're looking at get you into the mix.
Thank you so much, Jim. That's so encouraging. Julie Toth, I believe this one is for you. With experience like SharePoint administrator and help desk, what would be the ideal position to start with?
So I would look at technology engineer positions. There may be some crossover into software engineering roles, but certainly if you are going to the Traveler's Career page, you can type in SharePoint, any other keywords and applicable roles aligning to that will be shown to you. Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Does experience have to be paid?
No.
Resounding no. Resounding no's there. Do the military spouse benefits of remote positions translate to veterans as well? This is a good one.
And is your question, Kimber, that if you are a veteran but not currently a military spouse, would we offer the same employment opportunities remote?
Yes, I think that's the question. And knowing that so many of Travelers' openings are remote on that national job board, I think I know how to answer this, but I'll let one of you do it.
Well, and I think you and I are on the same path, right? I think, and I'll be honest, and Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know that we've opened it up that broadly, right? Because we kind of started with the partnership with the military spouses. But to Kimber's point, so many of the positions that we offer to our military spouses through this partnership, then similar jobs are also offered just across, to any population, regardless of their veteran status or mil spouse status. Is that kind of where you were going with it, Kimber, or did you have some other thoughts? Yeah,
absolutely. And Travelers is great. Their military hiring initiative is awesome. So thank you for covering that. Jim, do you have anything to add, or Jen?
I don't think so.
No, I think that covers it.
Yeah, I think Felicia had to drop. So Jenna, if you have this link to Travelers' full position list that are remote, the National Job Board, which we keep this pinned on our job board. So when you see that Travelers' various remote openings on the VertForce job board, that's where you can find the link. That'll take you to any remote position that you could possibly find at Travelers Insurance.
And with that plug, Kimber, I'll just say that whenever Kimber and team send you out the communication, they, in the application links, there's an identifier in there, right, that shows that you come across as a VertForce applicant. So we know and can make that connection. If you just go out to our career site and apply for a job on your own, again, you're more than welcome to do that. But I just wanted to note that that unique identifier connecting directly to VertForce might not be on there. So as much as possible, if you're interested in one of the jobs that Kimber and team have highlighted for us today, if you can use the application links that they've provided, all the better.
Awesome. Thank you. This one's for you, Julie G. Another one for you.
Oh no.
The insurance department. If I'm applying to work for you, do I have to call people and try to sell them insurance?
No, that's the beauty of it. And that's why, and I'm so glad you're asking this question. So that's why a lot of times in parentheses, I'll put inbound calls, because what we do at Travelers is you are taking inbound phone calls from people who are interested in getting a quote and wanting to know about Travelers coverage and does it fit their needs, right? So maybe they saw a commercial, maybe they saw an ad in a magazine, maybe they're part of an affinity group and we sent them a postcard because they're a member of, where's my friend, Rhonda, American Quarter Horse Association or something. I don't know, I'm totally making that up, but you get the gist. So they are fielding inbound calls of people who are interested. It is not cold calling. It is not outbound. If there's ever any outbound calls, it's just as a follow-up to a conversation that you would have had previously with someone. Yeah.
And I'm seeing a lot of people ask in the chat right now, should I tell you I'm a military spouse when I apply? What we ask at VertForce is that every opportunity you encounter, tell them you are a VertForce referral military spouse. So that means saying it in your cover letter, putting it on your resume, talking about it in your interview. And we're working with the Travelers team to try to get a drop-down field. But it's important that you use the VertForce links that we give you. It's important that you use the links that we're giving you today, because if you apply for those through those links, you are immediately indicated as a VertForce referral. And then we just ask you to continue to talk about that throughout your application and screening process so you don't get lost in the sauce. Yeah, do you have entry level to advanced salary ranges that you can share for data engineering?
So it's not something that I could share just for all of data engineering. All of the positions posted based on the level of the position as well as where they are located, you will see salary ranges posted in all open positions.
If I am a former employee, can I reapply?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would expect a lot with the military spouse community. If you're getting PCS'd overseas, when you come back, you're probably gonna want to go back to work with Travelers Insurance. So I can see that being something that might happen.
Yeah, and with that said, Kimber, I mean, of course, obviously, if you're interested in coming back, you enjoyed your experience with us, we would check with your, former manager and human resources manager and everything. But the short answer is yes. There are many people who have made their way back to Travelers.
Yes. Any tips for the Travelers assessment? And I think that's something we have not very clearly discussed today. So maybe we should spend a couple of minutes talking about the assessment and tips for the assessment.
I feel like that's my question, so I apologize if I'm dominating the microphone. The assessment so there is an assessment after you complete the online application for the customer service representative positions as well as the sales counselor trainee position. You'll get an email sent to you shortly after you complete the online application, and then you have to successfully complete the assessment. It's just give it serious attention, I guess. Don't take it lightly that it's, just kind of fill in the dots or whatever. Please don't rush through it. Give it your full attention. You do have to successfully pass that before, being considered further in the process. There's obviously some people aren't successful with it. If you're not successful with it, you do have to wait 6 months before you can reapply to a similar job with the same assessment, Kimber. But in the sales assessment and the customer service assessment are completely different. So if you apply to a sales counselor position and unfortunately don't have success with the assessment, you could still apply for a customer service representative position, and then, try that assessment. The assessment only takes about 17 to 20 minutes to complete, but again, don't rush through it. Give it, serious thought as you complete it. And then again, if unfortunately you don't pass on the first try, then you would just have to wait 6 months before you take it again for consideration.
Thank you so much. I'm going to do 3 questions and then we are going to wrap it up because we're almost at our time limit. So I've seen some questions in the chat about bilingual roles and English as a second language. Where does this land with travelers?
I'll take that one too, because you're probably looking at the sales counselor requisition or our customer service requisition. I'll be honest, you have to be able to read, write, and speak Spanish fluently. But also you are trained and start taking calls in English. So sometimes we get customers where we need a translator on the line, right? Or there are calls that come in that then get routed to a bilingual representative because it's a more effective communication, if they're able to speak Spanish with that customer. So again, you have to be fully bilingual, read, write, and speak both English and Spanish, I guess is the short answer. Amy Grenier, would you say anything different to that? No, you're on mute, but that's okay.
Yeah. So Julie, for the bilingual roles, yes, you need primarily Spanish, but a vast majority of our roles are not bilingual. I know
correct.
There were some comments in all of the roles you need bilingual. No. Like 95% of our openings English speaking.
And we call it out very specifically on the job requisition. Right. So we might have sales counselor openings that are your standard English, but then we also have opportunities in Spanish, and we'll post those separately so that you know exactly which one you're applying to. So
yes, and we've had your bilingual positions this year, and I'm sure there will be more within the next few months as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I know there's a question in the chat about other languages. I'll be honest, right now, our need for bilingual is just for the Spanish speaking community. We don't have a solid customer base beyond that it requires bilingual and other skills. So I just wanted to address that question.
Thanks, Julie.
Yep. All right. So the answer to that is yes, there are bilingual openings. There are not any right now. And those are typically in the Spanish language. All right, let's go ahead and move to our last 2 questions. Do you consider completed projects in education like data engineering and software engineering? Do you consider that work experience, Julie Toth?
Yes, I think for associate level positions for both software engineering as well as data engineering, that coursework would be applicable.
Awesome. And then the last question we're going to take today is, if I'm currently out of the continental United States, but I know that I'm moving back to the United States within the next 6 months, how soon should I apply?
We usually post our positions, and I'll speak to the customer service and sales representative positions. We post those anywhere from like 8 to 10 weeks before the start date. So I would say when you're in that 3-month window, then start looking at Travelers Career Site. Yep.
All right. Anika, I see your question. Did someone else at Travelers want to weigh in on that one?
I was just gonna comment that in the customer service roles, we typically have a finite start date. So we kind of work back from that start date. For other positions across Travelers, most times we're waiting for the perfect candidate or the right candidate to apply and get hired. So that timeline of when you start may have some flexibility in it. So I just wanted to call that out if someone's looking to come back to the US in 6 months-ish.
And it's all about your schedule, right? Like if you're coming before your spouse, if you find that position, you're like, I'm going to go a month early.
Yes.
So I can start work. That's realistic. That happens. My general recommendation outside of Travelers is 12 weeks. You should be applying within 12 weeks of returning to the United States. And Anika is pinging me, asking me to get this question answered. So last one, military leave and PCS leave. How does that work? If someone needs to leave to go perform reserve services or military services versus if someone needs to PCS, what is that like with Travelers Insurance?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to, military leave, like any other company, we are going to honor that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's, we are a very reputable employer that follows, all the laws and guidelines and things like that. As far as leave when your spouse PCSs, and I think, Casey, you might have had some chat with the people before. I mean, you'd have to keep your manager involved, right? If you need a certain amount of time, of course, they're going to work with you. It could be an instance where you're asked to take some of your paid time off during that time. If you need more than that, then I'm sure they would approve the unpaid time off in order for you to PCS and get established. I don't want to overstate because I likely wouldn't be your direct manager, but I will say that there are many people of those 100 now military spouses that work for Travelers that have successfully PCS'd since they have been employed with us.
Thank you for covering that topic.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's see here. Jacqueline Carey, and I promise this is the very last question. If you have more questions, email hire@vertforce.us. We're going to put that email address in the chat. Julie Toth, you get the honor of having the last question of the day. What is there a technical interview for the tech positions?
Yes, all of the tech positions would have a different variation of a technical interview. For software engineer roles, let me be more specific. For specific software engineer roles, we utilize a platform called HackerRank, which provides us the ability to test, and I'm using air quotes when I say that, test your knowledge within certain software. Now, that is not an evaluation or assessment, so to speak, which knocks you out of consideration. It's more of a starting point so that we know what level of position your skills would best align to, but there would be some variation of a technical interview for every role across all of tech.
Right there, bit.ly/VF-TV. If you will go there and click subscribe, you can not only see this soon, but you'll also see every other Coffee Connect we've done with Travelers Insurance, including the one we keep talking about, episode 142, that goes over all of the benefits and why you would really want to work with a company like Travelers. So I encourage you to go subscribe, go watch episode 142. And Julie Galloway was talking earlier about the remote unicorn episode that we did. What that does in that episode is it gives you a visual of the spectrum of remote work from gig-based all the way to full-time salary with Travelers. And Travelers is on the upper end of that spectrum. But if you sat through this today and you want to know more about Travelers, go to our YouTube. And if you sat through this and you thought Travelers is not for me, go watch the remote unicorn video. It will help you identify what employer type is right for you. And I just want to say huge thank you to the Travelers team for being with us today. This was an incredible event. So thank you, Jim, Casey, Jennifer, Julie Toth, and Julie Galloway, and Amy for being here with us. We have appreciated every question that you've answered and for being available to all of these military spouses and veterans. Mil spouses, vets, questions, hire@vertforce.us. Thank you all for being here with us today. Gift cards will go out in the next 24 to 48 hours in your email that you registered for this event for. If you're looking for it, it will come from Starbucks, so you can search your inbox for the keyword Starbucks. Bye, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.